when you're looking for a job or looking at an advertisement, what process do you go through? Because often the advertisements can be very broad and they can require to be good at 20 million things. How do you get yourself from looking at the advertisement to putting in an application? Mm-hmm. What sort of process do you go through?
A lot of mental toing and froing with myself in the first instance. Obviously, sometimes you see a job description and you think like, what are you actually asking for?
Yeah.
You know, assisting in this and doing that and vague general values. I try first to kind of boil it down to those aspects that I see if I want this job or not. To me, I'm lucky to be in a position where I only apply for jobs that I really want and that I see align with my values. So what I said earlier is community work, critical thinking, and some advocacy element. Yes. So I'd see that in between all the HR jargon and job description speak, does it boil down and does it meet those kind of core needs that I need? Yeah. Those core points that I need and that I want to develop in my work life. Yeah. So that's the first aspect. Something that has always discounted me from applying to certain jobs has been psychometric testing. I think those kind of online tests puts me in a really stressful state, kind of unable to just show my critical thinking skills when, I've always been better with interviews and with, questions or like the broad topic of questions being provided earlier.
Yes, because I've had some similar challenges where way back a long time ago, I was applying to do PhDs overseas and they had various standardised testing. Mm-hmm. And cut a long story short, I did really rubbishy on those tests, and it was partly around the timing, but just they had such a narrow focus.
Absolutely.
It didn't really reflect any of my capabilities or potentially, in my case, my ability to join up quite disparate pieces of information to make the connection.
Yeah.
It won't show out in any of those tests. And a lot of time for a lot of neurodivergent people, those sorts of testing, it might not be exactly how I've described it, but doesn't quite capture what they can do and what they're actually good at. So what sort of advice would you give to HR managers or even hiring managers around job descriptions? Should they be, for want of a better phrase, tightened up?
Absolutely. It gives clarity. You're able to assess, where you can bring your strengths. If someone says doing this or assisting that, and then slightly changing it depending on the level, that doesn't really give you that much. Like, you need to tell me if you expect that I'll be managing clients. Yes. Because that's something you'll need to think about. Is that something that I want to be doing at this stage of my career? What does that mean for me? How do I effectively communicate with that? What do I then talk about in an interview stage too?
Yeah.
Being clear, being direct. I don't think any job description fluff really helps anybody. When I first saw my job, my current job description, I was in a place where I really enjoyed my previous job. I wasn't leaving out of a lack of love. I was interested in trying something new. Yeah. And that year was a year that I thought I had so many beliefs that stopped me from trying things out. Yeah. And that goes back to the Y and X. Yeah. The more you mess around, the more you find out. Yeah. So that year I decided my philosophy was going to be lob it in. Yeah. So I was going to lob in an application. It was a job that I'd always thought about. It had all of these elements that I cared about: advocacy, court time, critical thinking. It was an area of law that I was always passionate in. But I always thought, oh gosh, the type of people here are ridiculously smart. They've got straight A's at university. I got some pretty good grades too, but a little bit more inconsistent and lumpy. And my skills were a bit more different and diverse. So I thought, but then the voice in my head said, lob it in. Yeah. I lobbed it in.
Yeah.
I was called for an interview.
Yeah.
The interview had multiple parts.
Yeah.
The first part was a written element. The second part was behavioral questions. And the third was working through a problem question.
Yeah.
And the second I started that process, I realized I wanted to work there.
Right.
I loved the process. And for someone who is neurodivergent and who is also quite anxious because they deeply care about their work and, I'm not too sure if I've ever walked out of an interview feeling so clear in my mind that I wanted to be there because of the kind of questions that were asked of me, because of the kind of engagement, because of the kind of care and comfort and consideration that the interviewers gave and the organization gave. For me, that was... And having a multi-part interview, I know it can be stressful. I mean, I was looking at it and I was like, 2 hours? What are you going to talk to me for 2 hours about? But when they said, hey, there's different elements, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. They gave the broad topics. They didn't give the exact questions, but it gave me the comfort to realize, okay, there's different sections where if I didn't feel I did so well in the written element, I could redeem myself in behavioral questions or in the problem question. And I think one thing I'd say for hiring professionals is if you're going to have a two-hour interview or like a 2-hour kind of component, break it up. Give people the opportunity to show their skills in different contexts.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to assume that the kind of work that you do is quite interdisciplinary.
Yes.
It challenges different things. And if you want different kinds of people in your organization, your hiring processes should reflect that.
Yeah.
It should give people the opportunity. If they aren't strong in this one element, they're able to redeem themselves and prove their other skills. Because if we all had the same skills, I mean, nothing.
You wouldn't really have a team.
No, never.
No. Because I think what you're really saying is that you're going to miss out on people if you stick to very rigid systems that doesn't encapsulate what the job actually involves.
Exactly. And for me, the job description, a little bit opaque.
Yeah.
But then I thought, hey, I did my own boiling it down and lobbed it in. But that interview is where I got the real clarity. And in the way they interviewed,
Yes. So people really shouldn't discount themselves, even if they think, goodness, this really doesn't look like me.
Yeah.
Doesn't that often. It's better sometimes just to have a go at something in case, yes, actually, the job description might not be telling me everything, but, I think I've got something here.
Absolutely. I think every time I've lobbed something in, and this is what I'm starting to realize now, I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs. I'd look at a job description and say, there's no way I could do that. There's no way I could do that.